Hit record. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Are y'all excited? Passover. I can't wait. Like I get like a little kid, and it's so funny because Dr. Elwine always talks about after Sukkot, start thinking of Passover. And it's just true. Like I can't help not doing that. So all right. So I always start with prayer. So, Father, thank you. Thank you so much for your seasons, for your feasts, Father, for being with us and just creating that joy within us that we get to meet with you during your appointed times. We get to enjoy you. We get to enjoy each other. Father, I pray that all that is said here today about your new moon, about Passover, Father, that as the women listen and bring it into their home, whatever form they bring it into their home, that they would be encouraged and lifted up, knowing that they can serve you the way you want them to. Father, that it's not about uh, what other people are doing, but it's about what you want us to do. So we ask you to join us today. We join you. We link arms. We worship you, Father. We thank you for this time. May everyone be blessed who gets to listen, and may my words be glorifying to you. Let nothing come out of my mouth that does not honor you. And it's in your precious name. Amen. Okay, so the month of Nisan is Tuesday starting. And I know that I think it's Tuesday night. That Passover is in a couple weeks. And it's during Nisan, so that's why I wanted to share specifically about Passover, um, and just what the Father's been kind of showing me over the years. It's kind of fun, and as I've talked to other people, sharing with them what I was going to share about, they're like, "Yeah, we've done that before." So I hope it encourages you. Um, Passover, we celebrate our personal freedom coming out of our own Egypt, and it takes time. It takes time to get Egypt out of us. We know this. But the theme about Passover and why we do it each year is because it is free choice. It is a season of freedom and embracing that. So, one of the things that he spoke to me probably 12 years ago, 13 years ago, was Matthew 11:29 through 30. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And the reason he brought that to my mind was because wanting to get everything right. Has anybody ever felt that way about Passover? We want to get it right. Like, this is a practice, all of the Passovers that we get to celebrate here as, you know, with our friends, with our family, we get to do that. But we get so caught up in the burden of heaviness and am I doing it right? What should I be doing? How do I do this? And so he just said, my yoke is easy. My burden is light, Debbie. So whether we're new or old, it we're remembering Passover. When we get to the season and we have a Seder or not, we're remembering. And, I do a lot of research, about just different things, as a health coach, I'm constantly learning. And, but I was reading in the book, Conscious Discipline, and the author points out that power comes from choice, not force. Okay. And so that spoke to me this year of we walk in his power. We walk in the Holy Spirit. and all the days of creation that align so well with wisdom and understanding, knowledge, counsel, power, and we choose to do it. And he's such a gentleman that he doesn't do it by force. He does it very gently to encourage us and lead us if we just take his hand, grab on for the ride and enjoy. And our power comes from choice to participate in Passover. We can choose to be victorious in all the other stuff that we do, right? Or speaking of Passover, what needs done? We can be victorious over all those things that we need to do, that need done for Passover. Make sure we have our challah, or I mean our matzah. Make sure we have the bitter herbs. Make sure we have this and that and all those perfect things. But in deciding our what to do's, let's not take on a heavier burden than we need. The people leaving Egypt chose to leave both. Those people were both Israelites and Egyptians. And so isn't that kind of our status? Like we're Israelites now, right? We have crossed over. We are Hebrew. We study Hebrew. We, keep the feasts as best we can. So we're crossing over daily, leaving the Egypt behind, the Egypt that's in us, and we're choosing that freedom. So why do we participate? Well, because a Seder creates space for each learner to be an active participant. The sensory levels, we get to feel the crunchy, bumpy matzah. Um, that's the sensory learner. The kinesthetic learner, well, we get to pour the wine. As each plague is mentioned, we get to pour the wine. We get to, maybe play with the little things on the table that we've, chosen to put there on the table. And that's during the mentioning of the plagues. And the Haggadah is like a treasured piece of the Passover for all the linguists out there, right? All those language people, reading people. And then, that pivotal moment of the whole Seder is the retelling of the Exodus story. So I don't know. It meets all those sensories that we need and we remember. So, we all know there's 4 sons or daughters that are named in the Haggadah, the righteous or the wise, and that's that Deuteronomy 6:20 through 23. And then we've got the wicked, that's found in Exodus 12:26 through 27. Then we've got the simple one, and that's Exodus 13:14. And we can go look these up, and I'm sure that Kimberly's probably going to put them in there so we can read them. And then we've got the one that doesn't even know what to ask, the simple one, right? At the end. Why do we celebrate this? Why do we do this? So we go through all of those phases ourselves. We're wise, we're rebellious, we are simplistic, and sometimes we're just utterly lost, especially when it comes to the question of how do we observe this new thing in our life? What do we do? What do we do? And we want to become perfectionists, or maybe we don't want to become perfectionists, but we are because we want to do everything right. But remember what Matthew says: the yoke is easy, the burden is light. So in order, in Seder, because that's what Seder means, we operate in wisdom of what Passover is about. And, that verse just speaks a lot about, don't put too much on it. Be wise within. Don't put too much on it. Don't add to it. Don't make more, right? And the wise, did you guys know, ladies know that um, the wise son at a Seder table sits by the wicked son? I didn't know that. And I was like, huh. But they do. Because why? Because we learn so much. The wise learns from the wicked learns from the wise. And we can learn from each other by sharing our experiences, sharing our Passover, right, with each other. But let's not make it so difficult. And when we're walking in wisdom, Abba sets it all in order in Seder. So being present in the moment to me is and enjoying what's going on. That is easy. That is light. And Passover teaches us this. Yet we have those whisperings, but those whisperings can bring bondage or they can bring freedom. Through the effort of controlling our emotions, we can experience the power over our most basic self. And this is true. This is in the truest form of that personal freedom. Just experiencing the power of what Passover is about. Not all the little details. Although the details are fun, don't get me wrong. I like to play with the frogs with my grandkids and the little people and all of that. So, okay, but to desire and shape reality, that brings kind of more enslavement or disappointments because we're not doing something right. So, sometimes living a holy life can blind us to the hard work that it takes to really refine ourselves. And that's what, Passover is about. The real work of Passover isn't just cleaning and cooking, isn't just setting the table, isn't just getting the perfect this or the perfect that, but it's learning the discourse, the studying the Haggadah. Um, it is the important preparation, as we remember to take a good look at those crumb corners, right, in our kitchens, in our pantries, but we need to look in our mind too and clean out the corners there. So as we're preparing, right, we've got a couple weeks still till Passover. Let's look at what habits and what traits are keeping us from fully really expressing our best selves to the Father and our best selves and trusting him that he sees what you're doing and he's pleased that you're doing. So, expectations, the need to control, what does that do? Enslaves us to worry. It brings frustration. And our true exodus is truly falling into the Father's arms and trusting that we're exactly where we need to be. And only then can we walk through the sea towards freedom. So, we may be freed from our external Egypt of all those crumbs, but if Pharaoh has come out with us, essentially he continues to have full control, mastering us. And I know nobody wants that. So I chose these oils because of what they represent, different things we can think about as we're moving towards Passover and how we're going to observe it and celebrate. And so ginger is all about power and strength, fulfillment, being fully present. Apply it over your stomach, your back, right at your kidneys, because it's for our kidneys. It's a warming herb. It's great for the liver too. You can put it on the bottom of your feet. But what that is doing And it's that energetic level. We don't necessarily understand all the reasons why, but Ginger puts control back into Yah's hand instead of becoming angry because of our own lack of strength or power that we may have at times, you know, and we can then express and ask what really needs processed here as we're preparing to come to Passover. Maybe there's some things that we need to get out. So back to the kidney, it encourages us to be present. The kidney also with the bladder, because there's a lot tied up with our organs. And so as we use some of these oils, we put them on our feet, we put them on our kidney, on our back, on our belly. It just encourages us to participate and sense what really is the true meaning of what we're observing. Um, you know, there were times that, and I don't know if y'all will ever feel this, but the burden that I talked about as far as we've got to have it right, we've got to do all the stuff. There were times when I would prepare for Passover and oh my goodness, because of all the stuff and having all the stuff, like I got that victim mentality of I have to do it all. I have to do everything. I have to have this and I have to have that and it has to be perfect and blah blah blah. But that's not walking in his power, you know? And so I think that's another reason the Father said, "Look, it's easy, it's light. Quit making it more than you need to." He speaks to me that way. I don't know if he speaks to you that way. Um, but when I'm powerless, when I'm feeling like a victim, I'm kind of stuck, right? Um, and then I can get overwhelmed or even play the old game of blaming someone else because, well, it was on my list. I don't know why I didn't get it. I got to, they had me do this or they had me do that, blaming others. But when we take full responsibility of our circumstances, our own choices, and turn them over to the Father, then we begin to walk in that power, you know? And it's been written, take every thought captive, take it captive unto him. So over time, that fragrance of ginger can bring on that warrior type mentality of power, of strength. And that is what Passover is about too. I mean, we defeated the enemy, he defeated the enemy and he can defeat that enemy, that beast within us. So the next one that I love because the scent is just so delightful is that Douglas fir, and it's all about wisdom. I encourage you, just take your bottles, take the lids off and just smell them together. We use them separately as we apply them on our body, right? On our feet or on our kidney. We can. This is one that you would perhaps use, with that diffuser. And we can always diffuse all of them together. We can pick one. Maybe we want to focus on one today and then one tomorrow or 2 days from now. So Douglas fir, one of the spirits that the Father spoke of in Isaiah that, is taught on by Dr. Halisa Alwine is wisdom. And we get wisdom from the Father. The Proverbs says 4 times, right, in the book of Proverbs, that we get wisdom from the Father. And I believe we gain wisdom from walking with him through time and each year walking with him through the Passover time. And we get it also from learning from people who have done it before us, the wiser people who have done this again and again. And they like to share their stories about freedom, like I did about, I don't have to make it so heavy, so challenging. And that's what we call learning from generations. As we walk the journey he's laid out for us, we may see that some generational healing comes that may be done, that may need to be done. There's a lot of tools that our Father provides for us to walk freely, letting go of harmful patterns, like negative generational patterns. Um, my home growing up, it was very hospitable. It was, oh, sure, come on over. We're having a party, whatever. And that's how I am as well. Like we would always be the ones, everybody would come over to our house after church. And it was great. But with that, like, you know, a negative side of that could be wanting to have everything perfect in the home so that when you have those people over, it's perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect, ladies. It doesn't. And so learning from others is a beautiful thing, generational things, but don't let it burden you, you know? Um, the letting go of stuff brings new life, new growth, new beginnings. And that's exactly what the Israelites had, a new beginning. So we can ask, am I ready to learn a new beginning and then apply it, you know? Okay, so now on to oregano. And you're right, oregano, like oregano is a strong, right? Intense kind of a scent, but it cuts through the fluff of our thoughts because it kind of like is like, woo, and wakes you up. Uh, it removes negativity. So also cutting through the fluff, it helps to remove on a physical level the bacteria, right? That can cause the body to be sick. Helping remove toxic thoughts that we've learned in the world, those generational things maybe, or just our own generational stuff that we're trying to create because now we've come into observing the feasts and now we need to do all this. Keep it easy, light. Um, One thing I think of with wickedness is the lack of humility. Think of Pharaoh. Did y'all hear me? Pharaoh. Someone who's prideful, hiding something perhaps, trouble admitting they don't know everything, maybe insecure. I mean, that's been me. I'll admit that's been me. My own pride gets in because I have to have it perfect. I have to have it right. But coming alongside, I've had friends come alongside me and say, hey, I've done it this way or I've done it that way. And you know what that wisdom does? Oh, it fills my soul with freedom and gives me new ideas, gets rid of false beliefs that I've taken on because I've needed to do it perfect. Ugh. So that one we can apply again the same way we applied the first one. Ginger, we can apply it over our stomach, our back, kidneys, bottom of the feet, but I would highly recommend using a carrier oil because it is hot and we can have sensitivity when we put it on our body. The bottom of the feet, maybe not so much, and you can just do a little swipe, or as I call it, the bottle tip, and wipe it on your feet. Or if you're putting it on your feet, just put the bottle on there and turn it over. Sit with one leg. We call that figure four with your ankle on your knee. Put the bottle on there, move it, and then rub your feet together. Then you don't have to get it on your hands and then you don't have to smell oregano the whole time. Although you may want to if you're having pizza. Anyway, so then another one that pairs well with this is simple. It's black pepper. And black pepper helps with no hiding. Physically, it helps to change some of the addictions that we may have. We've got Passover coming and lots of yummy stuff. Oh my goodness. So who likes matzah crack? Have y'all ever heard of it? Okay. I was just making sure. It's really good. But with that, that maybe we're struggling with an addiction for different foods. And so black pepper can help with something as little as, maybe not eating so much matzo crack because it's so good. But it helps us to take off the facades, being simple, getting rid of, whatever burden we've picked up that really isn't something we needed to pick up. We didn't need to. Um, it's all about laying down. When I think of black pepper, laying down what needs laid down, unmasking. We just observed and celebrated Purim, and we put masks on and we had all this fun, but what kind of mask do we put on when Passover comes? Take it off. Take it off. Energetically, emotionally, maybe just smelling your black pepper is what's needed. Okay, so now on to a fun one. Wild orange. We all love wild orange, right? Wild orange is all about abundance. And so now we've kind of come through the sea, the waters have parted, we've walked through, we're getting to that other side every year. And it's about abundance because what is he doing? He wants to bring us to the promised land. And I was just having a conversation with my daughter last week in relating to raising kids and boundaries. In rearing up our kids, we have the awesome responsibility of teaching our children about the world. The world is truly beautiful. And I know we've got a lot that we deal with. There's a lot of things, a lot of reports we can listen to. Are we going to choose to listen to Caleb and Joshua, or are we going to listen to the other? So, because I believe that the Father made a beautiful world. It's what we focus on. But back to the conversation, we were talking about that he established boundaries, right? And sure, with boundaries, we we start out small because we're talking about her kids. They're small, 2 and 4, and we were talking about, you know, the the boundaries that we have to set for them and for everything, right? And it was particularly where are they allowed to go in the yard? Because they've got a long driveway. And what tree is going to be that boundary? And then you get the opportunity to teach, here's your boundary today. And as I see you staying within that boundary, and this is just like our Father, then you're going to be able to be trusted and then go maybe a little further, you know? And it's a struggle because of the lack to want to control. And I don't know about y'all, but I see my grandchildren and I go, yeah, how they teach me so many lessons on how I want to pick up that burden and control it instead of him. Um, but controlling everything isn't my job. I'm to walk within the boundaries that he's set because he's bringing me to the promised land. Just like, hey, next week, or today, you get to go this far in the driveway. You get to go to this tree, you know? And they're so excited because, wow, mom trusts me enough to go here. He gave us these feasts because he trusts that, we're going to observe them. So let's not put the boundaries on too much. And then as we learn and grow and gain in that wisdom, we get a little bit less of a burden put on us each year. And I'm not saying take it minimally, with minimize it. Not at all. Don't misunderstand. Um, Boundaries are freeing, you know? If Pharaoh could have just known that instead of instead of trying to control, you know what I'm saying? So, wild orange is about our hormones, our endocrine system. Um, it can also be a very uplifting instead of resorting to food as our comfort. Um, it can create a boundary. So that paired with black pepper is phenomenal for offering, a little bit more freedom instead of bondage. Um, yeah. So, okay. So spikenard, last one. And I know I spoke about spikenard last month too, because it's about joy. And isn't that what Passover's about? And when you put spikenard with the other oils, like it makes spikenard better because spikenard isn't by itself. It's kind of like that oregano. It's like, ooh, it's not the most pleasant smell, but it's so good for us. Emotionally, it's a nervine. It's, for our nervous system. It really encourages us to surrender and accept and find appreciation for life, the life experiences, good, bad, indifferent, and really seek the deeper meaning. And isn't that what we're all doing as we observe Passover? Like, let's not forget the deeper meaning instead of all the surfacey stuff, even though we're cleaning our surfaces, okay? Um, seeing Yeshua for who he really is as our savior. And all that goes with that, being grateful for the challenges as well as the blessings, the present circumstances, whatever they may be. Um, and it's also another one that can help with that victim mentality because it's uplifting. It's going to change your mood. Go to the dentist and have them wave that little mask around. You'll know it immediately changes. So diffusing, applying it on your body, feet, back of the neck, good. Um, it's great for candida, allergies, flatulent indigestion, insomnia, even your cycle. So some of these kind of go together, as you can see. But neurological issues, definitely, definitely. Um, and so back to the oregano and the ginger, I just want to share too that those two, because of being a health coach, I see it all the time. The struggle with food is real, but those two together can create a synergy effect that is effective to help improve our perhaps insulin sensitivity or the systolic blood pressure and weight loss too. And there's other oils that you can put with those to help with that even more. And I've talked about those over the months too. So that concludes our Passover and the oils that I've chosen. Maybe now that we're going to go to question and answer, you can share with me what you would choose too.